All right. So,
and see how quickly I can respond. If you do ask me questions, however, remember, try to make them of course, they'll be specific to what's on your mind, but try to be concise in your, or at least put them on vibration mode so that we can continue. Background, my name again, thank you very much, Helen, is Morgan Halpern. I was born in New York. My father was a landlord. He managed 15 tenement buildings in Brooklyn, New York. Tenements were very large, 45, 50 unit buildings where families lived, and my grandfather built those buildings and managed them up to his death, so somehow I was kind of born into the landlord-tenant field. I have been in Nevada County since 1990 and have probably performed over, I hate to say it, but probably at least 400 evictions, and I don't think I've lost any, certainly none that I started. Therefore, I think my father probably rolls over in the grave every time I kick somebody out. I don't think he ever did. I will tell you, as a cautionary advisement, I'm going to give you a lot of information today that you think you will be able to use in order to bring or prosecute your own unlawful detainer actions. The actual subject of my next hour's presentation will be basically preparing notice to terminate the tenancy. There's a failure to comply with those notices, how to bring an eviction procedure. And in that same breath, I'm going to tell you, I do not advise you to do anything more than to prepare your notices of termination. If it gets down to the point where you have to bring a complaint for unlawful detainer, it may sound like it's simple. You'll look at these boxes and say, okay, I can save some money. I don't have to hire an attorney. I can figure out how to check these boxes. But you're going to run into any number of problems as you go so down the line. It's not simply the idea of checking a box, filing it, and serving it. Number one, if you make a critical error in the complaint, you're not going to get past first base.
you see why I like this guy? Because he already called out freaking Stacy Peters.
If the tenant, and this will be mostly geared towards landlords and property managers at this point in this time, and I know we have capable legal counsel who has typically represented in these fashion tenant rights and issues, and they will have their time in the future, I'm sure. But if you file that complaint wrong, it's going to be kicked out possibly. Even if it's not clicked out, the tenant may file an answer. And those answers may have any number of legitimate affirmative defenses or facts, which now you're going to have to figure out how to respond to. Finally, of course, when you do go to court, you're going to have to present your own case. You're going to know how to assemble your documents. You're going to have to be prepared to respond to the affirmative defenses of the tenant. You're going to have to hopefully prevail. And then you're going to have to fill out more forms and ultimately maybe get the sheriff involved to do the physical eviction. And all of these things can be nerve-wracking. You can lie awake at night. You can start to reinvent the wheel. And ultimately, to retain an attorney to assist.
And that's what I've been going through.
You, and this is where I get my 2 minutes worth of my own self-interest plug. If you retain an attorney, you don't lose sleep at night. Hopefully you have somebody, whether it's me or anybody else in this community, who knows exactly what they're doing. And furthermore, because the landlord and the tenant can often get into emotional conflicts that are difficult to resolve simply because of personality, your ability to communicate during the course of litigation and perhaps come to an agreement called a stipulation, which would resolve the matter without further litigation, becomes somewhat more limited because you don't have necessarily, or the tenant, the skills, communication skills, psychological skills, or the expertise to know what's worth fighting about, what is not worth fighting about, and how to orchestrate perhaps an agreement that would otherwise not require going to court and litigating the matter. So at the end of the seminar, I am going to list, I've got some handouts here with some business cards. I only say to those that are interested, if you'd like them, take them. If not, good luck on all those.
So he's promoing, he's selling himself. He's in Nevada and whatnot. But, the whole fact is learning the language, learning how other people handle things, learning in the opposition of all things. I mean, because my opposition is completely weak. There's, it's just a matter of, like, what do I want to do And how do I handle this situation? How do I handle this situation? And so I gotta learn some knowledge. That's why I'm putting myself through school right now, doing all this research and such. And I have to learn the diction, the rhetoric, just like when I turned in my car, my Passat, because I realized the damage. Like, people are asking me if I freaking did body work and such. No, I just did my homework for a few hours. So welcome to the life of a Luciferian.